Hi, welcome to This Week in Property. I'm Jayashree Kurup. I'm editor of Magicbricks, and I have with me Prabhakar Sinha, real estate editor of the Times of India. Today we're talking about the Delhi land pooling, which was passed recently. Prabhakar, a big, well-awaited policy, but lots of loopholes still to be seen. Exactly. So let's talk about one of the issues that the consumer is asking us: is this a good time to buy in the L zone? Firstly, let's talk about what this policy is all about. What is the Delhi land pooling? In layman's terms, what is the Delhi land pooling all about?
The present policy, let's talk about, and let's compare it also with the earlier policy which DDA had told the people that they are going with that. Now, earlier DDA had said that in L zone there are 95 villages in the western Delhi, south and west Delhi side near the border of Haryana border. In that, the land were to be pooled together to develop for the residential zone.
Residential and commercial.
Residential and commercial, but mostly residential. Yeah. So for that sake, what DDA said is that anyone who has more than 2 hectares of the land can participate in this land pooling. Now, the formula was that who has more than 2 hectares of land, means 5 acres almost, and up to 20 hectares of land, if they will surrender or they will contribute that much of the land in the land pooling, then they will get 48% of the land surrendered to the DDA. If one has more than 20 hectares of the land, then he will get 60% of the land surrendered with the DDA back as a developed land.
Right. So the aggregating agency was to be the DDA.
DDA.
Yes.
And the DDA will develop on the rest of the land, like 52% from the less than 20 hectares of the land and 40% of more than 20 hectares of the land. DDA will develop on that common facilities like the road, green area,
water facilities, power facilities.
All those facilities DDA would have developed it.
Yes.
After developing that, DDA would have given them the land back. Now, DDA had said it that when you are surrendering the land, it need not be one parcel only. It can be in the various parcels, and that can be anywhere in the L zones.
And you could have aggregated it into a consolidated amount for the DDA.
Yeah, and DDA will give it at one place.
Right.
That after deducting the portion which DDA was to take, and the rest of the land was to be given back to the owner of the land. So this was the formula. And with this formula, what happened that, because this was a very good formula, many societies, private societies was formed. In fact, most of the PSU companies like Indian Oil, ONGs, all these companies have their own this kind of a society.
Cooperative group
housing society they formed, and then they asked the members to join, and they took the money from the members also to buy land, undeveloped land right now. And they thought that now they'll have to, once the policy will announce, then this policy, the land will be surrendered to the DDA, and they will get the developed land from the DDA, and then they develop it.
Yeah. And also, you were supposed to have a much bigger FAR.
Yeah, much bigger FAR. FAR, they were supposed to be given 4 to 6 somewhere, so that the large number of flats would have developed, and the high rises would have come, and the prices, cost of the flat would have been very affordable. Meanwhile, what happened that DDA did all the survey and everything, and then they realized that taking land and developing it, the entire land mass, will not be that easy for them. So then they just chickened out. They said that no, we will not participate in the development at all. What will we do? We will be the facilitator. So they are saying this.
See, this becomes another reason for delay. The first delay was when the Delhi government said that it will not pass the land pooling till they got 40% of the Gram Sabha land, 400 acres?
Yeah, something like that.
Of the Gram Sabha land for common facilities for Delhi, such as hospitals and schools and things like that.
Which they said that nothing. Now we will not give it to you. And so those aspects.
That is in the beginning.
Yeah.
Then there was a long period of delay because of that.
Yeah.
Once the Delhi government had cleared it, then it was in the DDA's court. And today the DDA says, I cannot aggregate the land. I'm not becoming the land aggregator.
Yeah. So
it's too messy a business.
It's too messy a business. They are saying that once suppose you surrender the land, and if the process of developing that entire land will take time, people will blame DDA that DDA is taking this much of the time and that much of the time, and they will not be satisfied, and so DDA will have a very bad name and it will be huge responsibility. So they are saying that we are not going to participate in it. We will be just a facilitator.
Right.
Now facilitator means what DDA did it, that they divided this entire L zone into a number of sectors, and each sector
into zones. First zones, and within the zones, sectors.
Sectors.
Yeah.
Now the sectors is of 250 to 300 acres of land.
Yeah.
They created number of sectors.
250 to 300 hectares of land.
Yeah. Now they are saying that DDA will not aggregate the land, or they will not involve in that pooling of that. So they are saying that a consortium will be formed in each of the sectors. And now consortium should aggregate at least 70% of the land in that sector, and that should be contiguous.
And that consortium is to be called the development entity.
Development entity.
Of each sector.
Each sector.
Which means that each sector can have a very different flavor and different development entity altogether. And the development entity can decide what is the profile of that sector.
Exactly. And how will they would like to develop that?
There is a master planning involved where you say that so much is residential, so much is commercial, so much is green.
That is already
which the DDA will.
The DDA has already
DDA Master Plan 2021.
That is already decided it, that in this land which will be given back to them, out of that how much will be used for the residential and how much for the commercial and how much for the other parts of it. Now what happened that, now DDA is saying that once consortium aggregates the land, they will go to the DDA with that entire map. Now DDA will decide the development plan of that entire sector, and then they will mark that entire in that sector that where the road will be built, where the water facility will be created, or whether the electricity lines and all those have to be transformer and all that has to be built, and accordingly that land will be left with the DDA. The rest of the land will be given back to the consortium. Now the consortium will do the internal development and redistribute that land among the landowners who had contributed in the consortium.
40% has gone towards all the common facilities. And 60% comes back to, so if I have a 3 acres of land and I give it to the
minimum land that will be contributed will be 2 hectares.
2 hectares. So let's assume that the smallest entity has 2 hectares of land. You give it to the consortium, and the consortium takes away 40% for common facilities and gives back to you 60% of the land.
Will be given back.
But where that land is given to you is going to be the tricky question.
Now here the small developer or small landowners are saying it, that had it been the DDA, the aggregator, we could have dependent on them, because DDA is an impartial body and DDA would have given us the land accordingly where it is really feasible, or which is the impartial decision. But now here the consortium will be mainly of the big players. So then the big players will corner good part of the land in the entire sector for themselves, and the inferior land will be given back to the small players. So they are saying that it will be very difficult for them to participate in this kind of a consortium and in this kind of a system.
Now if only 70% of the owners have to be agreeable to this, which means that if the big entity can corner 70% of the
then they will form a consortium.
They'll form a consortium, and the smaller entities will be will have no say, and they will have to toe the line.
They'll have to toe the line to the consortium party, main consortium, what they want to do. That is the development entity they will become. Now DDA is saying that now whatever the land come to them, they will give it to the PWD, they will give it to the Jal Board, or the various developmental agencies to develop that portion of the land accordingly. Now, when the internal development will be done by the development entity, like internal road, park and all that will be developed by them, and then after land will be given back to the landowner, and landowner accordingly will build as per it is with the residential zone, then will be given. Now, FSI has also been reduced from earlier it was 400 to 200. Now, 200 FSI means that if you have contributed, say, 10 acre of land you have given back, or 10,000 square meter land is given back, then the residential built up area that one will get will only 6,000 square meter. Only 60%. So that means the cost per FSI, per square feet will be very high. And now they
What is it estimated to be? You have any idea?
It will be somewhere around 1,500 to 2,000 rupees a square feet. If the land price is today 3 crore rupees per acre. Now, if it is 3 crore per acre, then it will come out to be something around 1,500 to 2,000.
So let's assume that it's around 2,000 rupees a square foot. Now, let's deconstruct it for our consumers. What does 2,000 rupees a square foot FSI mean to the consumer?
Now, 2,000 rupees square feet today.
Yeah.
Now, suppose he will get the land back after 5 years. So, 2,000 rupees today, 5 years after, it will become at almost 4,000 rupees a square feet. So, FSI cost is 4,000 rupees. Over and above that,
a construction cost of 800 to at least about 2,000 rupees.
2,000 rupees square feet.
This is the standard.
So that means the 6,000 rupees square feet. Now the risk coverage of this entire period, and then after the profit and the marketing cost.
So it won't be less than 9,000 rupees.
10,000 rupees per square feet.
Right.
So that means even if suppose they are constructing 1,000 square feet flat, so it will be costing somewhere around 1 crore rupees, 1 crore and above.
And also, they've also allowed tradable FAR. Let's talk about that.
Now, tradable FAR, then the price will be fixed according to the circle rate of that area.
Right.
Okay. Now, if the circle rate is so high, then the FSI cost which the DDA will charge will remain very high. It might not be 2,000 rupees a square feet. It will be somewhere around 1,000 rupees a square feet or 1,200 rupees a square feet. But that again, the overall cost will remain high for that part also. So, I talked to many people, and they are saying it that with this kind of a policy, now as the DDA had proposed, the DDA has said in its policy paper that it is for the affordable housing they would like to develop.
In fact, they had said 24 lakh affordable housing units. They've reduced that and announced that it will be 17 lakh affordable
17
housing.
lakhs. So they have said that certainly it will not be affordable housing. It will be mid-segment to premium housing basically will come up in that area with 200 FSI. And plus in this they are saying that out of 17 lakh, 5 lakh will be EWS.
Right.
Housing also will be built.
Which is social housing, which means housing. That that housing does not pay for itself.
Exactly. So that means that will be subsidized by the developer. Okay, or the whosoever is going to build it.
Yes.
So that cost will also be built on the main portion. So the overall cost, and that is why now people are saying it, that first of all there will be a huge hiccups in surrendering the land, and after the surrendering, another problem what they are saying, the developer, like I was talking to Pankaj Bajaj, LDECO, he was saying that unless DDA acquires land from the farmers, buys land to develop the infrastructure in that area, like the trunk road and other things, the infrastructure development will be very patchy, and it will take a lot of time to develop that entire area. So it will become like Haryana policy, the Gurgaon kind of a thing, that certain portion, the development will be very, very clumsy, and it will be not very high class. So society, a high class zone will not come up in that area.
So let's talk about those societies. Some 200 odd societies have already taken money from consumers to buy the land.
Yeah.
They've bought up to 2 to 3 hectares of land,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And they are actually legal entities, because these were anyone who has bought as cooperative group housing, like Prabhakar said, Indian Oil Association, ONGC Association, various other associations.
The Central Government Employees Association.
Central Government Employees Association, who have got together and said that we want housing and we want cooperative group housing, and they've all bought, come together as an entity. They've all paid about 25, 28 lakhs to buy the land. They've already invested in it. But the bigger issue is that will that 3 hectares count? Will they get it in a premium slot within that sector?
Yeah.
And which sector? If you've bought within one particular zone of that area, once it's carved out into the 200 sectors that are going to be carved out, each sector is going to have the development entity developing it.
Yeah.
Will it count?
Now, if you have land in the 2 sectors, then it will not count. You'll have to bring that entire land. Either you'll have to exchange it with somebody, or you sell it here and buy it in the same sector, so that you'll have land only in one sector to get consolidated in a bigger portion. Number one. Number two, the another problem is this, that as you are rightly pointing out, that these fellows are not the big players. They will remain the small player, because they are just for the housing society, they are developing it. So they will not have a major say in the development decision of that sector. Number two. Number three, they have promised that flat to their participants or members at a certain price, say 35 lakh rupees per flat or 38 lakh rupees per 1000 square feet flat. Now they are realizing it's not feasible because FSI has reduced so much.
Absolutely.
Now they are saying boss, the cost will go up somewhere around 1 crore.
So when you've reduced, when you halved the FSI, and that means you've doubled the cost of the FSI, the viability of the project as it was computed has already gone away.
Yeah.
For a long time, the DDA kept saying, do not buy in. Individual buyers, don't put your money in till the contours of the plan comes to shape. But a lot of people thought that this was one opportunity within Delhi, the postal district of Delhi, that we would be able to buy at a throwaway price because you were speculating on a future growth. But the point is that the future growth has already been delayed because of earlier governmental hiccups, and today it's the policy hiccups. Who is going to be the development entity? Has any thought been given to who is the developer entity?
No, developer entity here they are saying that the consortium or the big player. Now suppose basically consortium led by the biggest player of that area. He will become the consortium head and he will pool the land and go to the DDA and he will cut that entire sector for the various participants or the landowners and he will redistribute it among them, and then after developer will be the landowner. Now the landowner will either develop it themselves or they will appoint again another developer to build the houses so that it will be given back to the housing units or they will sell it in the market. So that will be again a long drawn procedure again, because once the land will be developed, will be given back to the landowner, then the landowner will decide that how to develop it, whether employ a developer or develop it themselves. That phase, I believe, comes something after 5 years, not right now.
Can any owner, present owner, refuse to participate?
Yeah.
So what happens is, we've seen a Dwarka Expressway, right, where a handful of people refused to, and that was grabbed land actually.
Yeah.
But in this case, these are the original owners.
Yeah.
And if one original owner says, I'm not giving this, will it not hamper the trunk routes of sewage, drainage, roads, and so on?
It will affect because DDA is not acquiring the land. Now, if the DDA is not acquiring the land by Section 4 or any other sections to acquire, because that is what the DDA pleased. Now, I was talking to one senior official DDA saying that land acquisition is so tough today, it is not feasible. And he says that if DDA suppose participate in the developmental plan of this entire thing and get itself involved, he says that land acquisition is almost impossible. And in that kind of a situation, he says that it will be very, very difficult for them to do it. And because of that difficulty, I mean, very interestingly, now the government agencies are basically going away. They are washing its hands off. They are saying that no, we don't want to participate. Now, if that is the situation, then how the development will take place?
Yes. Wouldn't you have more Dwarka Expressways in the offing? Yeah. The private entities will bring their money in. You will buy from the private entities because this is going to be sold to you at prices that are a little higher than affordable, but with probably new housing in Delhi, large tracts are not available. Yeah. And then you'll find that the master services that were supposed to come have not come. Will these have to be registered with RERA?
Obviously.
Who is RERA in Delhi?
The DDA's authority.
The DDA is the RERA authority in Delhi. And DDA, as the RERA authority, is also not willing to stick its neck out and say that I will develop a lot of things and let the development happen.
Private participant comes.
So the private participants are going to be regulated by the same agency that says that I don't have the wherewithal to develop it.
To develop this, and to acquire the land.
And to acquire the land, to make the master trunk routes. The same problems that we saw in Gurgaon, where private entities came and developed on-site infrastructure, but off-site infrastructure was a crisis. Yeah. The same plan could very well happen in the pool area.
That is what happened. Basically, I was talking to one very senior gentleman in DDA. He says that all these lands are in the villages only, and all these villages are connected with the existing roads. So they will just strengthen that road and they will say that these roads will become the trunk road. Now, but those roads are not wide enough.
Yeah.
And now if the 17 lakh units are going to be created out there, Now certainly that will require altogether a different kind of infrastructure. Now for that, land acquisition has to be done for the new roads or the new infrastructure. But here DDA is saying it that they will not involve itself for that kind of infrastructure right now.
Right. And here consumers is what you have to keep in mind. Many of you are already invested there. Almost 1,50,000 buyers have bought into different societies. These societies did not have any legal standing. Some of them were cooperative group housing societies who have bought land for their members, and all the members have contributed towards it. There are some developers too who have been selling, which was completely unregulated, and they did not have any legal standing, because if in the new regime since 2017, if you wanted to engage in development activities, you can't start selling a project without registering it under RERA. And these projects are definitely not registered under RERA. So you as consumers who have bought into these projects have bought into what is not legally sanctioned.
Yeah, obviously, because right now even the plan has just been cleared. Now after this, DDA will notify it, and after notification, now the DDA will say that, okay, you form the consortium. It's still far away. I mean, at least 6 months to 1 year away. And after that, now all this society, I mean, will become active only after that. So right now, I was talking to when you talk to the DDA, they are saying this, that they have not asked people to buy into or invest into this society.
In fact, DDA did put out ads saying, please do not buy in these areas.
In societies that don't invest in it. So now they are saying that they are not responsible for it. But the issue is this, that these guys have invested thinking that original plan of the DDA. Now DDA had originally, they had already put out that plan, and the people, it was discussed also, and it was understood that that plan will be implemented. But finally DDA developed a cold feet, and they said that no, we don't want, they don't like to participate directly into this, so they stay away, and now they are saying it that let the private people only participate.
So Prabhakar, we've started getting some queries, and let's answer these queries. They are based on, and consumers, we would like to tell you that this land pooling discussion is going to be spread over 2 weeks. Today, Prabhakar and I are discussing it. Next week, we'll call in some experts, and we will continue this discussion on Delhi land pooling and what the consumers can do or should do. Prabhakar, let's pick up the first query. What is the current position of this land pooling policy, or when will it be on ground base? You're estimating 5 years?
When the land will come back to the developer for the development of the flats and all that, it will take minimum 5 years.
Okay. So, the Ved Prakash asks, hi, please advise about the zone P2. Will it come under land pooling or country homes policy?
No, right now it is only L zone is in the land pooling policy.
Prabhakar, we've got Vaibhav who says, dear all, L zone is pure and safe to invest, but for long term. However, DDA itself makes it transparent about the development would minimum take 5 to 7 years. Although the property transactions in the area had already been started, and it's an expectation that huge trading of property of L zone will happen after notification of DDA. This is an observation.
Yeah.
You want to respond to this?
Yeah, he's right that it will take times at least 5 to 7 years, and after that, ultimately, the demand in Delhi for property is high. So, whatever be the condition, only thing is this, that whether the development is going to happen of very high standard, because limited land is available. If DDA could have done it, they could have done it for a very high quality of residential projects there. And but with this policy, what people are fearing now, that the development will be not of very high quality, infrastructure will be not of that standard, and that will affect the total quality of life which people will have in that area. Earlier it was thought of that DDA will develop, and so the development will be of very, very high quality, like in Noida or Greater Noida. But it will not happen like Noida, Greater Noida or Jamuna Expressway, but it will happen like Gurgaon, where the infrastructure development is always very, very shoddy.
Prabhakar, let's talk about, there's somebody called Kevish of UAE who's asking about a project, he's planning to book a flat, also let me know what kind of appreciation in property once the land pooling is implemented. Our suggestion is don't buy. You are in the UAE and you don't know what's happening on the ground. You know that you're buying into an early stage property, but the point is that once the policy is announced and the policy gives you the guidelines, you know who's going to aggregate the land, you know who's going to provide the infrastructure, you know what the roles of the different people are. That's the time when the end users should come. Otherwise, you would have put in a lot of money, but you may end up losing a lot of money as well. And the appreciation that you're looking for only comes if the planning is meticulous, if the execution is meticulous, and the area is extremely livable. That we are still not sure of.
What the DDA is going to do, or what this entire policy is working towards, that they are going to develop a new area where, I mean, the entire area will be
ground
up. So the commercial area or the retail development or the residential development or the school, colleges, institutions, all these things will be completely new.
Yeah.
So first of all, to develop all these things together will take lot of time.
Like many of our consumers are saying, yes, it will take 5 to 7 years at least.
It will be more than that. Let me tell you that coming up of the school, hospitals, and all these things. It's not like you are developing things very close vicinity to the existing area. It will be at least 10, 15 kilometers, 20 kilometers away.
Can we give our consumers an idea of how big this development is going to be?
This is a huge development. It's bigger than, let me tell you.
You're talking about 200 sectors of a minimum of
250 to 300 hectares.
250 to 300 hectares and 200 sectors.
It is around 25,000 hectares of land. It's almost bigger than Noida.
Noida city is a well-established city.
Yeah.
This will be larger than Noida city. That's just to give you a perspective. For this volume of development to happen, and Noida's development started in the 1980s, and you're looking at 2018 when Noida is still developing.
It's still developing.
This is the time frame that you should be looking at.
Yeah.
From somewhere around 25 to 30 years for this kind of development to happen. It's like developing a whole city.
Yeah.
But in the case of Noida, there was a master plan. And there was an entity which was responsible for ensuring that this development happens.
They had put up an authority. And the authority was developing it. Yes. Now here basically they are saying that the consortium will develop that sector. Yes. And authority will just look into that entire things as a big brothers, that whether they are doing
and it especially because it is abutting the Dwarka Expressway, which has been hanging fire. People who bought houses, legally sanctioned houses in 2009, are still waiting for that area to be livable. And for the handover of their property.
10 years from there.
Yes.
Just imagine. And so this is the kind of a thing can happen here also. Let me tell you this. It's not that easy, because DDA itself says that to supply water will be a humongous task. And that is why they are saying is that they have reduced the FSI from 400 to 200. Similarly, the road infrastructure. Now, the DDA refused to acquire land. So that means they are saying that as and when this consortium will come up and they will surrender the land, this trunk route and all that will be developed. Now, suppose a consortium which have come up in a remote area, and consortium before that has not been come up. So that means that land for the trunk route will not come up. So you'll have to use the existing land, existing road only, or existing infrastructure only.
So it is not planned development, it's development. It's very much like the Gurgaon model, where individual developers aggregated land and developed it, and all the facilities had to take circuitous routes to align themselves.
Exactly, it is that, and this is what the people are apprehending that could be a big problem.
Yeah. Now let's take S.L. Gera of Delhi, who says, even today a very large number of flats are lying vacant in Noida and Gurgaon as there are no buyers. Most of the buyers were basically investors. With the government's eye on eradicating corruption, people are keeping away from buying property, as no such property deal is free from black money. Will the pooling of property further curtail the prices of property even in the NCR? Mr. Gera, you've read the markets wrong. Wherever there are completed projects across Gurgaon and Delhi, Consumers are buying, today the consumers are the end users, and the end users are buying in a certain category. Magicbricks research shows that the 30 to 60 lakh or a little more than that, up to 80 lakh is the sweetest spot in this market, and any project that fits into this budget is being picked up by end users. There are some premium housing, which premium housing has been oversupplied in large cities across the country. But wherever there is premium housing, it doesn't mean that it's the death knell for premium housing. Today, because of a government push for affordable housing, first-time buyers who have not been able to buy earlier are today in the market scouting for good deals, and the markets have been flat for 2 years or so. Therefore, there is a lot of buying and selling happening in that price bracket. The vacant houses that you're seeing in other segments is probably because those segments are more expensive than today's buyers are. A lot of buyers we see are resale buyers, which means that they will sell their existing units and want to upgrade. Till the markets start inching up and the prices start stabilizing, we don't see the resale market picking up so much in the premium segments. But that doesn't mean that the premium segments are dead. Premium segments will bounce back once the extra stock in the market is also
completed. His various notions are wrong. First of all, in the first time buying, I mean when you are buying from the developer, no black money is involved. This should be very clear now. The black money might be involved in the second sale, but in the primary sale, black money is not involved now, number one. Number two, saying it that premium housing is now dead, it's wrong. Go to sector 150 Noida and try to buy in Primonte of ATS. You will not get a flat. Similarly, go to Clio County, where the flats are more than 1 crore rupees. You will not get a flat even today because the projects are completed. Only those projects which are not completed are hanging. There you will find that people are not buying or there are no buyers.
And increasingly we see that developers are completing projects, RERA is pushing developers to complete projects, and more or less the market has moved towards completing projects and handing them over.
Prices are not appreciating. That is of course there because of the supply, and that is very good thing, because if suppose there is no supply, then the prices will shoot up and then many people will not be able to buy it and they will be condemned to live in a second grade housing. So today there is a good opportunity that you can buy at an affordable price. Now look, affordable for everybody, affordable level is different. Those who are having an income of, family income of 2 lakh rupees per month, he will certainly can afford to buy a 1 crore rupees house, and that is affordable for him. And that kind of in a 1 crore today, you can have a very good house in Noida, Greater Noida, and even in Gurgaon. So that's a good opportunity. Earlier, this same house used to be quoting at say 1.5 crore, 1.6 crore. So today prices have come down to 1 crore, and that is good thing. And the developer are selling at that price.
And Mr. Gera, we see that a lot of consumers are borrowing money and buying housing. And when you borrow money to buy housing, the black money component is more or less removed. Even sellers today are asking for white money and not
exactly in the secondary market.
In the secondary market also, a large number of professionals who are looking to buy have started buying in the white money.
So this notion is that in the real estate sector only black money flourishes is not correct.
Okay, now we've got Kaushik from Delhi who says L zone is definitely the best place to invest irrespective of what many negatively say. The zonal plan has already been drafted by DD and we will soon get the notification. The price of properties in Gurgaon, Noida and Faridabad are dropping, and once land submission notice for L zone and P2 zone are released, check these things: registry of land parcel, credibility of developer for any fair clarification and honest advice. Actually, Kaushik, the thing is that the zonal plans that were earlier floated have not been notified yet, and our own understanding is that there may be variations to the zonal plans as well. There are some new zonal plans that are being evolved. The FAR has dropped from 400 to 200, which means that you are already going to see some kind of realignment of the whole thing. Also, it's not DDA that is aggregating the land, it is the private developer entity on each sector, which means there will be 200 development entities because there are 200 sectors. So therefore, nothing is clear as of now. And will this lead to the crashing of markets across the NCR? We don't think so.
It's not.
The NCR has commercial hubs. There are many other drivers because of which the NCR has flourished, and just releasing one large parcel of land is not going to kill the NCR.
Now, in next 5 years, the demand will also grow. Many people will join the city again, and these new people who are coming into the city, they will also require to buy a house. So, the prices are not going to crash. It might not appreciate that fast, and that is anyway going to be there. But many people are waiting to buy in Delhi only. So those guys will certainly look for this, and that is a good opportunity for them. We are not saying that this is not a good development. This is a very good development. Only thing is this, that this could have been done in a better way.
And the dynamics have not evolved fully yet.
Yeah. So that is what we are saying.
Even today, the final notification from the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development has not happened. That notification is still awaited, and this debate is so that you are able to participate in the conversation and your views will also matter. Suresh from Mayur Vihar asks, is there a bracket set by DDA for capping the prices of properties available?
No.
Unlike the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana or the Haryana Awas Yojana, where there was a cap of 4,000 on the price of on carpet area, we don't have any such cap that is part of the law. Hitinder from Ghaziabad asks, what is the price moderate and what are the risks involved if I invest in it? Don't put your money in till there is some kind of clarity or the clarifications are issued by the ministry, right, Prabhakar? See, end users.
First of all, now issue is this, that you are buying from an entity. Now try to find out that whether that entity has more than 2 hectares of a land or not. If he doesn't have more than 2 hectares of a land, he cannot participate in this scheme at all. Now first of all, he should have more than that land. Then after, when he is participating, what position he will have in that consortium, and where he is going to get the land back in that entire sector. So all these factors will be important, and the prices, the return on your investment will depend on all these factors. So I am not saying that the things will not come up, but it will take a lot of time. So first of all, you will have to wait for that, and now suppose
your money will be locked in
for say next another 7-8 years. Now, can you get a better opportunity to invest in the market for that much period? So these all things you will have to wait before investing in this sector. That's what I am saying.
And there's Brahmdev Singh from Gurgaon who has a point to make. Delhi should not be made congested further. New areas and smart cities should be developed around Delhi and connected to Delhi. This would reduce the burden of Delhi. In fact, the idea was to make the L zone a smart city. It was planned as a smart city where all planning norms would be followed, so that this would have ease of living, there should be good livability and so on. But today we are not sure, because a lot of, when the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi actually cleared the land pooling, a lot of watering down has happened, and that is what we are discussing today.
Exactly.
We'd like you to raise these issues. We'd like you as consumers and aware consumers to keep raising these issues on social media, on any forum that you can find, because ultimately it's going to be your lifestyle that will be impacted. Please join us again next Friday, and we will be bringing experts to discuss these issues and to address your queries. Thank you so much for watching This Week in Property. I'm Jayashree Kurup, and this is Prabhakar Sinha.
Thank you.